Welcome to another episode of the Blank Canvas. If you're new to this, this is a project brought to you by Flinko Solutions focused on AI and accessibility, specifically building in public, showcasing how to implement and really grow business infrastructure from the inside out. So today's episode is going to be really interesting. We're going to be diving into a project that I have had queued for a while, spoke about it earlier this week. Title of the project, as dramatic as it is called The World Has All the Answers. It's essentially originally started as an iOS shortcut that you can scan a notebook, like a written, full on, the brief moment that I don't have a notebook next to me. As you know, the handwritten notebooks, you're able to scan it with an iOS shortcut and basically upload it, have it on the back end automatically vectorize, which I'll talk about in a bit. And then store as a database that a language model can talk to. So, and then we'd figure out how to kind of expose that endpoint. So, what does all that mean? Today we're going to dive into that. So, the purpose of this is basically that you can take your written material and repurpose it into marketing stuff, right? Marketing stuff. Originally, I approached the no-code way of building this. And like much architecture, I recognize that sometimes code is sometimes a better approach. So what do I really need in terms of the code side of things here? That's what a large part of this past conversation with GPT-5 has been about. So breaking down the actual architecture involved, right? So explaining pretty much what I wanted to do. I went ahead and I created a sort of, specific thread talking about what I want to do. And then I did a study and learn to basically say, hey, what do I need to do to support ChatGPT in achieving this, right? Seeing a lot of inspiration of this kind of vibe coding stuff, I, originally was going to do this on my own, but I figured if I can lean on the AI agent to do so, what does that look like? So I said, provide links for everything I need to sign up to and everything that I need to do, essentially, to make this possible. So fast forward a little bit. It gave me pretty much a list of things that I needed to provide. Nothing too crazy, just API keys. So I went into those individual platforms. So far, no problem. I will say Supabase is notoriously, well, I don't say notoriously, it's unreasonably complex sometimes. And if you're not familiar with databases and how they work, it's a bit of a learning curve. So I won't lie to you on that. But once you do make it through that, you can kind of wrap your head around what exactly it's talking about. On the side, I have another language model that I'm just explain this to me like I'm 12, as you do with the vibe coding. And as you do that, you're able to kind of comprehend and understand things a bit deeper. So kind of skimming through it forward to where I'm at now, I pretty much was ready to launch. So I was like, okay, here's the variables. Here's everything you need. Feel free to take over. I trust you as much as I do. Take your time planning and chunking your steps for accuracy. You're an expert, self-assured. If it needs my help, let me know. Got to the point where I needed to log in, went ahead, took it over, and pretty much gave it a green light. Now, so we're running into an error here. Seems that things have been working smoothly. So just to kind of understand what's happening here, it's creating the storage side of things for me. As you can see, it's kind of happening here in real time, which is pretty sweet. So, okay. Walk me through what I need to do to add these policies. So the policy piece is kind of like a guardrail, a gate, if you will, that basically, keeps the human in the loop, as I can tell. So to kind of map out what's happening here, truthfully. So the front end and the back end piece. If you're new to software architecture, this essentially means, how do things show up and how do things operate, right? On the actual database side. On the front end, the vision that I have for this is mobile centric. So that's not mobile. Mobile centric, right? Meaning it starts on your phone. And from here, you're able to scan your notebooks. So, for example, let's assume that's a notebook. Let's put that in like that. And pretty much what we're looking to do is when we scan those notebooks, then have some processing stuff happen on the other end, and then basically create a sort of client session. So if you can imagine, this goes over here, and we'll change the color for that. And then what happens from that is it has, just like as you would with any sort of chat kind of feature, individual little, that's an ugly color, individual little chats. So let's go like that. So, yeah, you can kind of see the idea, as you would with any sort of like, Telegram or N8N chat. You can even add an element of voice flow if you actually want to have conversation and talk to a voice agent on this. It's a later piece. Let's see what's happening here. Da-da-da. Okay, so I'm going to pause really quick, dive through all this. So as you can see what's happening here, I kind of switch between this like agent mode and then like discussion mode. If you're using Claude Code or any sort of like, even DeepSeek is great too, then you'll be able to actually kind of plan with it and then ask for the actual, as you can see, limited agent executions when you need it, right? That's kind of how you assess how to build with GPT-5 here. So what I did is I actually dug up the password and I funneled it through. So anything else you need before I put you back on agent mode? I only have 20 requests. So realistically, if I can't achieve this in 10, it is what it is. And then kind of seeing towards what my other options are, just because it resets, August 26th, and that's a bit steep. So, it doesn't hurt because I do have other browser agent tools, but yeah. So from that, as you can tell, I'm just funneling it into here. And then, yeah. So from there, pretty much, give it a green light. Okay, perfect. I need this fully built in under 10 agent request. So let's see if it does it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's kind of the game of this, right? So this is what's happening, right? So this is the user experience. That's the front end. The back end, I could elaborate, specifically being on the N8N and vectorizing piece. Let me explain what this means. So what is a vector? So say this is a giant library, and this is typically the best way to explain it. And I am saving, in this case, 5 notebooks. So each of these are a notebook, all nice and tidy. And then, in order to basically look for individual pages within these notebooks, I am stuck to kind of search either by the title, the relevance, but in order to actually for an AI to pick up on all of those pieces, it uses something called vectors. Vectors, if you can imagine, being like a barcode in a library, helps you catalog essentially the information that you're trying to access. So it allows you to say for the first kind of prefix, go to this part quicker. So that allows it to respond with speed and actually pick it up accurately. That's a major key with all this, right? So when it comes to accuracy and having efficient kind of like these agent prompts, building efficient prompt chains is essentially what you're looking to do, right? As well, there's a few other kind of tokens I'm taking into account. The business side of things. In order to make a mobile app, I of course need an iOS or a Google Play account. From my understanding, I'm not sure about the Google side yet, but Apple has a nice nifty fee that they tuck all the way at the bottom here, being 99 USD a year, which is not the worst. But before I pay for that, obviously, would like a full working app. And yeah, so gonna give this a light of day, give it a shot, and then we're gonna return back to our originally scheduled program with building out this questionnaire with Bolt.new, specifically to service the top of funnel, right? So that specifically to actually segment and tailor solutions. So from here, let's see what's happening now. So let's plug this in. So as layman as possible, I asked it to take me through the next step. It suggested that I was all good to go. But when it comes to testing, I don't want to test it within the terminal because it gets messy. So I'd like to kind of see what the front end will look like. This is the full back end. I realistically can't test the back end without having a interface to begin with. It being mobile means I need to host it, something called Expo, right? So Expo Dev is pretty much the go-to app builder. Oh, let me do it here. Pretty much a go-to app builder for getting it on the mobile store, right? So sort of an ecosystem, right? And yeah, gonna give it a shot, see how it goes. If this comes out working, fantastic, and it only took me truly the afternoon and evening. Not too bad, right? So stay tuned. For tomorrow, I'll be doing another episode specifically focusing on that questionnaire with Bolt. Until then,